have anything, but I know that I'll for sure be so tired.
No, it's okay. Okay, we're excited. Annika. No.
Annika. No, it's so annoying. Trust me. I know.
Annika
Yes.
Orozco.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Welcome. I'm so excited to have you on.
Yay, honestly, I'm so honored, by the way. Like I'm having like, what's it called? Imposter syndrome. Because I'm like, why would anyone want to have me on a podcast to hear me talk? But it's just so fun. Like, I'm so excited to be here. So thank you. I'm honored.
I swear that's like been the biggest fight for me doing this whole thing is the imposter syndrome.
It's so crazy.
It's tough to navigate and to tell yourself that just push through it.
Absolutely.
It's like 1 hour I'm like, what the heck am I doing? I can't do this. And then the next hour it's like, no, you can do this. And then it just goes back and forth. But no, I was like, so when I asked you at Pilates a couple weeks ago, I was so nervous. I was like, she's going to see, because you were, funny. I think like, because I have a list of people and you can probably see the list over there.
I didn't even look at that. This is amazing.
I have like a list of people and I know some of them. I'm like, I'm going to ask them and I know they're going to say yes. And they are going to say yes because they love me. But some people I'm scared because it's just, it's new, right?
Yeah.
Like like, I have no followers. I have nothing to really offer you except for the fact that you can practice or
so cool.
We get to see where it goes. So.
Right. Well, I'm just honored. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
And tell me the podcast full name.
Ready to Raeyne.
I love that.
Thanks.
That is so pretty.
So first off, trying to find a podcast name is probably one of the hardest things you'll
I have
ever do.
no idea what the heck I would call a podcast.
Your name, because your name is so different.
No, it's so weird.
No, I love it. You need more unique names. Everybody has the same name.
I always wonder, I'm like, because people, like all my followers, I'm like, I wonder what they think my name is.
Oh, I don't even know. I couldn't even guess.
Yeah, like, so I always, and then people, that go to my classes, they just see my name like on their sign up. Mm-hmm. So I'm always like, I wonder what the heck people think my name is.
Yeah.
Because it's so wild.
Do your name. So the Raeyne is actually a mix of my names.
Beautiful.
So when I started an event planning company back in August. And that was kind of like my goal was I had some people ask me to do their weddings and I had some other companies ask me to do like freelancing events. And I was like, sure, I'll start it. I'll write a little piece of my house off and make it my office and I'll just learn the thing. And I was trying to find a name and I ended up mixing my first and my middle name. So it's Reagan Lane.
Oh.
And so it's Raeyne. And then I was like trying to come up with all the podcast names and like everything's taken. And I was like, well, I want it to be something positive and I want it to be like encouraging. And I was like, well, what if we just do Ready to Raeyne? Mm-hmm. And then when we talk to people, it's just literally about what they're ready to do.
That's
right?
Seriously such a cool idea.
Diving into the people behind the process, the planning, the product, like whatever it is, like whatever they're ready to do, like let's just share it.
How fun.
So
that was genius. How long did you brainstorm so many things?
You're literally gonna look at my papers.
I can't wait to look.
Your notes when I walk by. Your notes are insane. And my phone, I think in my notes, I just have thousands of names. But I think the hardest thing is like everything is so taken.
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah. Everything's very saturated.
Yeah, but I don't want to take credit for like completely my name because do you know Ruli and Logan? Mm-hmm, so when I was going to Utah State. I worked there for like a month and they came and talked to my business class and I went and worked there or whatever. And Ruli is a mix of her names. And I
didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I loved that concept of, she's like, well, if I'm going to make a clothing brand and it's going to be me, then why not use my name?
Cool.
And Rue was like the nickname her dad gave her. And then Lee was like half of her, I think her name is Kylie or something like that. And so I was like, oh, that's so nice. So like whenever I start my business, like I could mix my names or something.
That seriously is cool.
Because you are your brand.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Why not mix your name or use your name or
when I was like deciding, okay, I'm going to start posting on social media, I went through like a bunch of different changing my handle because I was like, I feel like I need to have something with like fitness or Pilates or something in my name. And I like brainstormed a million things and I'm like, nothing's as cool as just Annika.Orozco. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm just going to make this a thing. And then, so I agree. Like your name is just like legit. You know what I mean? You can make it whatever you want.
Yeah.
But
because
yeah.
it's you and you
Oh,
are
yeah.
your brand.
Oh yeah.
So let's dive into that. So you are going crazy on social right now.
Crazy is a strong word.
I'm crazy. You're growing.
You're so kind. Thank you.
And you're like one of my top people I follow because
oh my gosh, you are so nice.
I would say the main reason why is because of your positivity.
Oh
And
my heck.
so tell me why you decided to dive into social.
Yeah.
And where that came from.
Well, okay, so I don't know. Gosh, in fact, I deleted all my social media in 2023.
Okay.
So January 2023, I was like, I had already lost a bunch of weight, and I was kind of, I thought I was like the fittest I'd ever be at that point, and I'm like, great, I'm happy with where I'm at. And for some reason, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just delete my social media this year. I'm like, I'm just using it to scroll. Like, I'm not creating any content. I'll post the occasional, like, I'm on vacation, thing or whatever, Merry Christmas post. But, and I was just like, this is a waste of time. All I get from social media is I feel bad about myself. And so I'm like, I'm just going to delete it and see what happens. And so I spent a year in 2023 of just not being on there. And it was so great for my mind, because I'm one, like, I got Instagram. Instagram came out when I was like 11 years old, 10 years old, and everybody got one, and you've never not had one since, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like, and it was there was no rules or like ideas of how long to be on it or not, or like scrolling, like it was just, I was in the generation where it was just like brand new, and like parents didn't know to like restrict yet or whatever, So anyway, I've just always been on Instagram. So it was the first time in my life where I was like, wasn't comparing myself for like longer than an hour. You know what I mean? And it felt very freeing. And then throughout that year, I was like, you know what? I wish that I could just like make posts that were not about comparing, but about inspiring. And during that year, I got like super into fitness and kind of changed my whole lifestyle. I went all in with Pilates. Like that was the year, like a big year for me where I just did a ton. And I was like, I'll make the goal 2024. I'm just going to start posting. And I'm like, it's going to be embarrassing. And I'm like, and who knows if it will even blow up, but I'm going to attempt this for 1 year. And if I grow, then great. If I don't, then at the end of the year, I can give up, whatever. And it was like no skin off my back. I'm like, who cares? Some people will unfollow me from high school. I'm like, what's the worst thing that happened? So anyway, I just feel like I got really brave in 2023 when I stopped comparing myself to people. And I was like, I would love to be someone, like a positive voice on there that isn't about comparison, that isn't about like, look at my amazing lifestyle, like look at my vacation, look at, my clothes and like all that stuff. Well, all that's very fun, in small doses. I was like, I would love someone every day that just reminds you to like take care of yourself and reminds you to like feed yourself real food and just like enjoy your life and take care of your body and just like all those things. And so that was kind of my vision doing social media. And it's just been kind of fun. Like it's kind of, it is now that, I kind of manifested it into reality, and here we are, and it's just like a blast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel, again, like imposter syndrome. Sometimes I'm like, no, like I'm not. And I don't do social media. Like it's just kind of cringe. And then I'm like, wait, this is like not cringe. This is awesome.
Yeah.
It's just, it's interesting. But yeah.
Yeah. Social media is like that double-edged sword. Like it can be very toxic and very negative and very bad.
Yes.
But it also can help you build a community or like stay in touch with people. And
there's so many people that I'm inspired by on there. And like, I learn so many things on social media. I'm so motivated. And so, yeah, there's so many positives about it. And then there's also so many negatives. And I think I was wrapped up in the negative of just like, I'll never look like this. I'll never, have a house this nice. I'll never, all these things. I don't get to go on this like beautiful vacation. That was kind of where my mindset was. And I took that little break and came back to like a totally fresh perspective on using social media as a tool instead of like having social media run me. I was going to run social media.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Dude, I think when you switch the tool aspect,
yes.
right? So my screen time like last year was insane. And I don't know if I was super pregnant. I was in postpartum. I was breastfeeding. I was like way more on the couch.
Yeah.
I was way more on the couch. And then when I started my company, I was like, okay, I need to start using this as a tool.
Yes.
And how can I like manage this tool better? And I was scrolling and I saw a video and it was like, if you're not using social media for your own branding, then you're not using it right.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, click, done. And then when I started, I was like, okay, I'm going to do a podcast. And now I'm on social a lot because I'm like trying to boost or post about like what I'm doing, but I'm not doing it scrolling anymore.
Yes.
So I think when you switch your mindset that it's more of a tool and less of like an enjoyment or like the entertainment for the night, it's just so much more productive.
Yes. And like, and anyone could make it, even if you don't want to be an influencer, or if you don't have anything specific that you're trying to like promote, even just like making it a fun, creative outlet makes it more of a tool than just someone who's just scrolling endlessly and like kind of brain rotting on it. So like I have friends that just make the cutest stuff. And I have this one friend who I really admire. She's not an influencer. She doesn't want to be posting a ton, but she does close friend stories all the time of just her talking about her day, like show she just watched. And I'm like, this is a really fun, cool, creative outlet that you have. And you're not, so it's just totally like making something a fun, creative outlet, making it your brand, using it as a tool instead of using it like to just distract yourself from something, So social media is amazing when you use it the right way. And when you leave social media feeling accomplished rather than leaving feeling down, you know what I mean? It's just, and it's so interesting.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, so you use social as your tool, but let's talk about how you got into what you're doing now. So you are the best Pilates instructor. I love going to your class. I literally look on my schedule and I'm like, when is she teaching? I'm like, do I want to go to this person? Well, I have to, but I will. Sometimes I like search for your classes because you're so good at it.
Thank you.
But you haven't been doing it very long.
No, I haven't even hit a year mark yet.
That's so crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Okay, so tell me your fitness journey and how you kind of got to where you are now.
Yeah. So, I grew up active. I played competitive sports at a pretty high level, and I had a career-ending injury that kind of sent me on a spiral. I was 17 and just like went from being extremely, extremely active playing soccer to literally nothing. And I didn't really know anything about nutrition. I didn't know anything about working out. I had honestly never really thought about my body before. You know what I mean? Like it didn't cross my mind until I stopped playing soccer and started gaining weight. And maybe TMI for people, but like I didn't even have a period till then because I was so active. And then I was 17, got my first period and gained a bunch of weight. Like it was just like a turmoil time. And it just sent me deeper down a spiral. And I graduated high school, served a mission, and was super unhealthy on my mission, and got a super unhealthy relationship with food. Like I was totally addicted to food, but I hated how I looked. And so it was just everything was just felt like a spiral. And so I just constantly felt guilty, but was constantly still eating because I just couldn't get a control. You know what I mean? It was just this.
You're literally
cycle.
Speaking, and I feel like I had the same thing.
Right?
Most
people don't talk about this, but I feel like everyone has this in some way. They've gone through this, whether it's a big scale or small, but like everybody has experienced this a little bit.
Yeah, I just love how it like, and we'll get into the food thing in here in a little bit, but how it's becoming a little bit more acceptable to choose to be healthy.
Yes.
I feel like for a really long time, society we're such like a consumer kind of society that they like tell you like it's okay to have Oreos, it's okay to have this, and like I do like how the narrative's kind of changing and everybody's going a little bit more like Whole Foods and like this is destroying you.
You weren't cool if you were healthy when I was a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My parents are the most amazing parents in the world, but my mom was extremely healthy, all growing up, still is. And my dad was eating all the fun food when I was growing up. So my mom's over here eating extremely healthy, and my dad's over here eating pizza while my mom's, hurrying, whipping up some tuna. You know what I mean? Like, and my dad's teasing my mom, and I kind of grew up around that. So I never wanted to like be like that, where I was like, I wanted to be that cool girl that just like throws down pizza and like throws down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because it was kind of not cool to be healthy, at least for me growing up. And like people in high school, like I don't know, it just wasn't a cool thing.
It was cool to have the snacks on the bus on the way to the game.
Absolutely.
And like eat like whatever you wanted. And
absolutely.
Yeah. Not realizing how much food was actually impacting your performance.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And anyway, so after my mission, I got home. Well, and this even like made the problem worse with food. My last 6 months, I don't know. I feel like most missionaries will know what I'm talking about, but 6 months to sexy, the last 6 months of your mission, you just pretty much like lock in. I'm going to lose as much weight as possible. So I go home looking good. Cause I served in the US and most missionaries like gain weight on their mission in the US.
Can I ask you where you served?
Yeah, I served in Portland.
Okay.
Oregon. So my mission was technically Vancouver, Washington, but I always say Portland because I was in Portland for most of my mission. Kind of a weird zone. But anyway, those last 6 months, I pretty much just restricted myself to the max. Like I still didn't understand how to feed myself, how to fuel my body and feel good. I was just like, okay, well, I just won't eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like a miserable 6 months. I got in a really bad mindset. I was like, I don't want to say I had an eating disorder because I don't want to make light of that, but I was really close. You know what I mean? And I got home and I was feeling really good because I had lost weight, not eating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got home and kind of got married pretty quickly. And then I got on birth control and gained weight 40 pounds in 3 months.
Holy cow.
Yeah. It was like all the side effects that are on the back of your birth control box, I got every single one. You know what I mean? Like I just had a very bad reaction to it. And the weight gain was like the hardest one for me, even though I had all the other ones. Like I had horrible back pain. I had horrible mood swings. I was anxious. For the first time was experiencing depression. Like it was a horrible, horrible experience. But I was just so wrapped up in the weight gain, I couldn't even function. Like I didn't even want to leave the house. It was just a horrible, I got so in my head. Like I just look back on that time, like it was just such a dark year of my life, which is so sad. My first year of marriage. And I was just too wrapped up in my own brain to even like enjoy anything. Yeah. Anyway, so towards the end of that year, I was like, I had been going to the doctor a bunch and saying like, I think this is birth control. And the doctor would say, no, it's all in your head. Like birth control wouldn't do this. And I'm like, okay. I would go back. I went back like 3 times. I was like, can I just get my IUD out? Because even if it's not it, like I would just like to try it. And they told me no.
They told you no?
They told me no. They were like, no, like we promise it's not that. And you need to have birth control. So
you need to?
Yes. It was, and this was a woman doctor too, which, like very interesting.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I finally like freaked out and went to an urgent care and said, get this IUD out. This poor nurse guy.
Oh,
I know. Anyway, so
you were
immediately after getting it out, I lost 10 pounds in like 3 weeks.
That's really fast.
And I started feeling better. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I just got on this trajectory of like, oh my gosh, I feel so good. Like I have energy again. I just want to start taking care of myself. And so going into 2021, I was like, okay, I have tried doing the crazy workouts, the crazy diets. I always fall off the wagon because it's unattainable for me. I can't go from 0 to 100. I'm like, I'm just going to try something very attainable this year. I'm just going to walk for 20 minutes every day before work. And then I'm going to, like, that's it. I'm not even going to focus on anything else. I'm just going to be, and I'm like, maybe I'll never be skinny again, like skinny, you know what I mean? Maybe I'll never be, the size I want to be, but at least, I won't, like, I'll at least feel better. Cause that was like the point that I was at. I just felt terrible.
Yeah.
Which is the worst part. Like when you get to that point, I feel like that's the rock bottom. You know what I mean? Where like I just, I don't feel good. I always have a tummy ache. I'm always tired. I'm always
You don't want to go out to dinner with the family because you like yeah, you kind of fit in the pants, but like your stomach is so bloated and it hurts so bad. You're like, I don't even feel comfortable in my own skin
Yes.
to even
Yes.
go out or
It's
talk to
so
people. Your
crazy,
confidence, your like communication, like
which
nothing.
is so sad because like I've never looked at someone and thought, like, unless they're like extremely morbidly obese, you know what I mean? Like, but I've never looked at someone and thought like, oh, that person, probably shouldn't be eating that. Or, oh my gosh, like I can tell that their jeans are a little tight around the tummy. Like no one's ever thought, I've never thought that about anyone else. No one's probably ever thought that about me, even during that time. It was just all in my head. You know what I mean? And I think that's a good reminder. Like my husband thought I was the most beautiful person in the world at my heaviest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's just sad that we can get to those mental spots. But I will say, like, I've never felt better than I do now. And anyway, I'll get to that. But like, taking care of yourself is actually the cure to not feeling like crap about yourself. Like,
Yeah, everybody wants like the quick fix or like what
yes.
supplement can you take to like drop the 10 pounds or like
Yes.
the whole all the shots that are going out right now or they're
Right.
just passing out like candy when it's really like actually it just really just takes hard work and discipline
It's so true.
and going to the gym and just changing your habits.
Because the weight will just, I mean, if you don't change your lifestyle, then you'll just get right back to square one eventually. You know what I mean? Like you'll stop taking a drug or you'll stop, being on a crazy diet, and then immediately you'll just go back if you didn't change your lifestyle. And like, I think that's the biggest thing that like I want people to take away from my experience of weight loss is I think it's easy to look at me now and be like, oh my gosh, she dropped 70 pounds. But it's like in 2021, I weighed 200 pounds. And now I weigh, 130, 125. But that means I dropped like a pound a month, you guys. You know what I mean? Like that is grueling. That
Yeah.
is like, imagine I literally worked my butt off for 6 months to only lose maybe 10 pounds. Like that's can you do it? Can you do 6 months of like really staying consistent? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's where the challenge comes in. And that's when the real lifestyle changes happen, is over these long, long, grueling periods of time, which they won't feel grueling. I mean, they sound grueling to someone who's like, I want to start doing this. I say grueling because that's where I was at the time. But when you're in it and you're taking care of yourself, you're just going to feel better. You're going to want to be doing it. Like I promise,
Yeah. So I feel like there's so many times when people are like, oh, New Year's resolution, I'll start this. Or, oh, someone's doing a challenge, I'll start this. Or I'll try 75 soft or whatever. And they do fall off the bandwagon. But when was like your moment that you were like, that's it, I'm not changing? Because I think everybody gets to a point in their life or to the point where it's like, oh, I'll try it, but they're not fully committed.
Yes.
And then there's like that one time when you were like, no, that's it, I'm fully committed.
Yes. Thank you for getting back on track. Because I was gonna say, so 2021, I was like, I made a New Year's resolution. The reason I did that is I had gotten my idea and I lost some weight and I started feeling better. And I was like, well, I'll go get my hormones tested because that's probably why I gained so much weight. My hormones are off. And I went and got my hormones tested and they pretty much came back and said, your hormones are fine. You're just overweight because you eat like crap and you don't move your body. Like that's pretty much what it said without saying that. And I was pre-diabetic. And when I read that on the sheet, it was like, that was like totally the biggest wake up call of my life. I'm 21 years old. I weigh 200 pounds. I am pre-diabetic. I'm like, who is this person? And I don't know what, there was just a switch in my mind where I was like, I refuse to live like this anymore. And again, I was like, maybe I'll never look, like if you showed me a picture of me to myself, in 2021, I would be like, that's not attainable. Do you know what I mean? But I was like, maybe I'll never get to that point. But I'm like, at least I have to just get my health under control so that I feel better and have a healthy life. So anyway, that's why I made the walking goal. I was like, I'm going to get up before work, walk for 20 minutes, and then go to work. And I can't focus on anything else because I know that I'll fall off the bandwagon. Like if I say, because I've done that a million times, I'm not having sugar anymore. And then 3 weeks later, I'm like binge eating every treat I can find.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like tell yourself not to eat it. And then the first smell or somebody was like, you want a cookie? And you're like, oh, okay, well, I haven't had one in so long, so I'll have one
Yes.
now. And then you just get back into the habit.
Or I would like sign up for all these HIIT classes and I'm like, I'm going to HIIT twice a day. And that's not attainable for someone who's 200 pounds and eating like crap and hasn't moved their body. You know what I mean? In years. So, I think the biggest key is to, number one, make attainable goals and just be brutally honest with yourself. Like, and that was embarrassing for me growing up so healthy and so active to say, this is the only thing that's attainable for me right now is to walk for 20 minutes a day. Like that was a huge, like I had to drop all my pride and just be like, this is the only thing that's attainable. So anyway, long story short, I walked for 20 minutes a day until that became like honestly the highlight of my day. I looked forward to it because the fact of the matter is when you're moving your body creates all the yummy, endorphins and serotonin that you will love how you feel. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking, okay, go work out once and then see if you feel better, even though you might feel a little better that day. But I'm saying over time, if you're constantly moving your body, your happiness levels, your energy levels, life, I dare you to try it. Life is just going to be happier 3 weeks after you start moving every day. You know what I mean? So anyway, I was feeling great and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start focusing on my nutrition now. This was like around March. It was around my birthday. And I'm like, I'm doing really well. I'd lost 10 more pounds just walking every day. And I was like, I'm going to start focusing on my nutrition. So I was like, I'm going to eat 30 grams of protein every morning for breakfast. And I had just found that randomly, like I think even on TikTok or I don't know. But I just was like 30 grams of protein in the morning for breakfast. And then the rest of the day, I won't focus on what I eat, but I'll have a healthy breakfast in the morning that's protein packed. And I made that a part of my lifestyle too. And then I ended up looking forward to that too, because I felt so much better when I was eating a good breakfast. And I ended up being like, you stay more full throughout the day. Like I noticed I was making healthier decisions for lunch because I was already feeling good. Like I just wanted to keep the momentum going, but I was doing all this stuff without even, noticing. It just happened.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's not like, cause you eat a lot of protein. Like
I eat a lot of
sometimes you
protein.
post it and I'm like, there's no way I can get to those numbers right now. Like
there was no way I could have at square one,
Yeah. But like you said, you have to get the attainable goal.
Yeah.
Attainable goals. Like start small. Like
yes.
You can't. So I did the 75 soft thing for a little bit. I kept trying. I did it. I would go like a month and a half and then my events would just go crazy.
Yeah.
And I would keep doing soft and people were like, why are you doing soft? Why are you not doing hard? I'm like, because 75 soft is not possible. I'm a new mom.
Yeah.
I'm doing event planning. I'm like starting a couple other things on the side. We're traveling. It's hunting season. Like there's so many things going on. I was like, it's not possible for me to drink a gallon of water every day. That's not a thing. So I'm like, okay, I picked a Stanley mug and I was like, okay, have to drink a Stanley mug every day.
Beautiful.
Or like.
Beautiful. You're making an attainable goal because like you just have to drop your pride and say, this is the step I can take.
Yeah. And I think the important thing too is like, okay, well, if you failed, then it's like, it was okay to fail.
Absolutely.
Like, it's okay to like, I didn't hit my whole Stanley today. Like, it's okay. I'll do more tomorrow or I'll drink an extra electrolyte packet or whatever. Like, or just subbing it out, but being a little bit more kinder to yourself.
Absolutely.
Through the process.
Well, and I think too, like, after I started making protein a goal, and this just kind of goes into that, like I just slowly kept adding on until now here we are, 2025. I am a fitness instructor. I've lost 70 pounds. Like my life looks night and day different. My nutrition looks night and day different. My life is like, it's black and white. You know what I mean? It's just really cool. But, there would have been no getting here without me, like pushing through when I don't hit a goal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I think that we get in our head so much of, oh my gosh, I didn't hit my water goal. Well, I'm just going to give up entirely. And that's really easy to do. What's challenging to do is to not hit your water goal and then tomorrow's a new day. I'm going to hit my water goal today. You know what I mean? And I think that a lot of people, if they're like, well, I went to hot Pilates and I had to kneel down because it was really hard during class and I had to take a break or I had to leave the room for a minute. I'm not going back. You know, like it's too hard for me. And it's like, well, of course it's too hard for you. That was your first class. Okay, of course you didn't hit your water goal today. You're just starting to get that habit. You know what I mean? So I think it's like powering through that doubt in your head of like.
But I think also people like don't like, okay, maybe you needed an extra electrolyte packet that day because what you were eating was not fulfilling all like the vitamins or all the nutrients that you were needing. And then you go to hot Pilates, or like maybe you only got like 6 hours of sleep instead of 8 hours of sleep, and your body like
is reacting that way.
Yes. Yeah. So I think you definitely have to take it day by day. And I think that's the biggest thing I told people, whether they were doing CrossFit or if they were going to go try Pilates. I'm like, listen to your body, because your body is telling you something different every single day. Just because you felt like it was so hard on Monday, maybe you were extra tired from the weekend, you know? So like give yourself.
And women, I mean, we deal with this on such a higher level than men because of our cycles. So, I mean, during your, like, well, when you're on your period, you're your weakest that you'll be, your muscles, like all of your body's energy is going towards your period. And so you'll notice like, I can't lift as heavy on my period. I can't hold plank as long on my period, like all these things. And then all of a sudden you'll get to your follicular stage and I have so much energy. I'm like, go, go, go. My house is clean. I'm like the cardio during classes, I'm like cranking it up to the highest notch. You know what I mean? And then the next week, ovulation phase, that's when you're your strongest. That's when I'm like, Pilates is a freaking breeze this week. I'm killing it. And the next week, when you're going into your luteal phase, your body starts to slow down. You start to get more tired. You start to get in your head a lot more. You have less endorphins, no matter if you're working out or not. And you're like, and I think just giving yourself grace as a woman, and I mean, this goes for anybody, but I'm just specifically talking about your cycle of, 99% of the time, it's going to be push yourself extremely hard and, eat that healthy food no matter what. And then the 1% or the 10% of the time is like, no, you deserve to take a rest here because, and you'll know your body, you'll know when it's time to push yourself, and you'll know when it's time to give yourself rest and give yourself a break and give yourself that extra cookie. You know what I mean? Like you'll know.
Yeah. So when did you make the transition to decide to start teaching Pilates?
So when I found Pilates, like it totally changed my life. I love Pilates. Could you tell?
No, well, I'm the same way. Like
right?
I was like every other workout, and then now I'm like, I only do Pilates.
Yeah.
Like I love it. There's just something different about it.
It is life-changing. Like, and because of growing up playing soccer, I had multiple knee surgeries. And so I have horrible knees. And I was always in constant pain. I had injuries with my back playing soccer. And so my back was always in pain. My knees were always in pain, running, lifting, doing these hard workouts. I was going to burn boot camp, which I highly do not recommend. You know what I mean? These HIIT workouts, they're just so hard on your body. You're putting your body into hyperdrive for no reason. When I found hot Pilates and just Pilates in general and reformer Pilates,
I want to add on
that.
I want to add on that because I was super into CrossFit and I still love it. Like it still has a really special place in my heart.
Right.
I feel like HIIT workouts are for people who already take care of their body to that level.
Absolutely.
So like when you're like living your day to day and you're not taking the protein that you need, or you're not eating as much, and then you just go and do CrossFit, or go and do a HIIT workout, your body's extra destroyed.
It's extra destroyed, and you're telling your body, hold on to everything, hold on to every ounce of fat, because we're in trouble. Like your body's literally, when you get your heart rate over a certain amount for a certain amount of time, it tells your body, I'm in trouble, hold on tight, we need to store all the energy that we can. You're literally telling your body that. So then when you look at like amazing CrossFitters who have built up over time, their heart rate is much lower when they're doing HIIT workouts than like someone who's, where I was at when I was 200 pounds and not eating right and not moving my body well, and like marathon runners are a great example of this too. When I go running, my heart rate goes to 200. When my good friend, runs, and she's a good marathon runner, she's amazing. Her heart rate is what, like 90? You know what I mean? And we're running the same pace. So she's taking care of that heart rate and is in a great fat burning zone, but I'm in a zone that's telling my body, I'm in trouble. I need help. Hold on tight to all this weight. And so anyway, that's my opinion on HIIT workouts.
I think if you're training your body to be prepared for it, it's good. But if you
love it, then go all in and figure out how to get your heart rate great.
But I mean, it's the same thing. Like if you never, it's the same thing with food, right? If you're like, oh, I'm going to eat healthy, and you eat one apple.
Right.
Okay, well, maybe your body didn't need the apple. Maybe you really needed like a steak, Literally. So it's like, don't just
not eat sugar.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I feel like sometimes people like, back how you're saying, attainable goals.
Yeah.
Start smaller, get your body worked up to it. Because if you just keep just like 100%, like I'm only eating steak, I'm only doing carnivore. Yeah. I'm like, okay, but you'll
fall off the wagon immediately.
Yeah.
1 week will go by and you'll be, hating your life.
Yeah.
And that's just how it goes. And like, so anyway, when I found Pilates, I went to a class for the first time, and it was the hardest thing I'd ever done, hot Pilates. And I was like, I love this because it was attainable, but it was also so hard, but it was slow. And it was like, I just loved the vibe. I loved the workout that we were doing. And instead of like thrashing my knees and thrashing my back, like I left feeling rejuvenated. I left feeling, anyway, I found hot Pilates when I was weighing in at about, I think 150, which I was very happy with. I mean, I was like 50 pounds down. I was like, not looking to necessarily hit a certain physique at the time. I was just like happy to be at what I thought was a great weight and a healthy lifestyle. I found Pilates and the fat just started melting off my body. I was walking and doing Pilates because I never stopped walking because I just fell in love with it. I mean,
it's probably like your time to just reset and not be a part of the world. And
absolutely,
I feel like a lot of people use their car for that moment.
Walking is, if I could influence anyone to do anything, there you go. Go on walks all the time. Like, not only is it walking is the best fat burner, ab builder on the market. Like, if you walked every day, I would say do that before you do anything else. Like, it literally shreds the fat off, and it literally just builds your abs, builds your core. And then also your mental health. I mean, if you're walking outside, I could go on and on about this, but there's so many reasons to walk. And if you can do it outside, even if it's cold, I mean, your body, you'll notice the change in your mental health. You'll notice the change in your physique. Like it's the easiest thing to do. Like it's what our bodies were built to do, which is no wonder why that's putting you in the best healthy zone. Long story short, if you're gonna do anything, I say walk. And then do Pilates after. Like literally, that's how passionate I am about it. But anyway, so I found Pilates and I was walking every day. And so my heart rate was low whenever I was working out. I was walking or doing Pilates. But it was really challenging. And all of a sudden I'm like, I hadn't stepped on a scale in a while. And I was like, I may as well. I found Pilates in September. And it was like November when I weighed myself. And I was down 15 pounds.
Holy.
And I don't, and I feel like I have a little bit of body dysmorphia. So sometimes I'm like, still see my big, self. And so I hadn't really like taken a good look at myself in a while. And I was like, holy crap, my shoulders are defined. I have defined shoulders. And I was like, I can see my collarbones. I'm like, this is insane. And I was like, I have triceps. I'm like, all these things. I'm like, I can see ab lines. I'm like, this is insane.
And you're not having to lift 30, 45,
No.
85. Let's try 110 on the bar. Like, you're not having to lift crazy heavy weight. Like, we're in there with like
3 pounds.
3 pounds. Oh, and then the one you do where you do the arm one.
Yeah,
and it's
no
literally
weight.
just arms the whole song.
Yeah, so hard.
I like can't even get through it yet. I'm
No,
like,
literally.
my goal one class is to get all the way through that song without
Girl, you
resting. I'm almost there. But
You're so
like,
there.
It's crazy how you don't have to do very much weight.
Yes.
But it's very just, yeah.
Yeah, Pilates is the very, very, very best workout out there. I mean, walking and Pilates, if you're trying to lose body fat, then do that. And honestly, Pilates just sculpts your body. Like, I never imagined that I would be sculpting my body. I just always thought I just wanted to be healthy. But it literally has transformed my body and created this like person that I'm like, this is a fit person. This person, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who I just never saw. But it's so amazing that it's from a workout that's just magical. Like, you enjoy the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's light. It's fun. Like, oh my gosh.
I
Pilates
think
is the best.
one of the things that I've loved about it is since it takes the weight off, it gives you a little bit more control.
Yes.
And I can feel muscles differently now.
Absolutely.
And I can I understand more of like the core. I never understood core. I still probably don't understand core. I'm not a fitness guru. I'm not, I love working out.
No, but going to Pilates, it's totally, you connect your mind to your core.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's changed my thought process on what it takes to do a workout.
Yeah.
Because I'm like the instructors will say like, oh, engage this. If you're not feeling it here, then you're doing it wrong. And then you're like, oh, okay. But it's also slower, less impact, where you can actually feel and focus on those muscles, which is so
and
nice.
I think slower is harder. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I can go to the gym and crank, my curls, and I go to Pilates with my 3-pound weights and I curl so slow, and I'm, in a teaser doing a curl, like, and it's just hard. Like, in the best way, in a way that's not like overbearing, but it's like a beautiful hard. Like, you're connected with your body, you're learning stability, control, balance. I mean, these are things that not only create like a beautiful physique and like make you feel really good, but also longevity. Like, people that do Pilates, like, I bet with your next baby that you're gonna have, like, it's gonna be a night and day difference, because your body's, you're connected to your muscles. Like, you know how to really control everything. Now it's like all this control.
I was doing Pilates before the baby. I was doing more of the yoga. But then when I got pregnant, I stuck with the cycling all the way through. I was like in the cycling class like 3 days before.
That's literally amazing.
It was pretty fun.
That's so impressive.
I like actually I'll have to show you, my Snapchat popped up. And it had like a year ago, and my belly was like to my knees.
So
and the
cute.
instructor always would come over and get mad because like when I would cycle, my knees would go out because my bump was so big.
You're like, girl.
And she's like, you need to put your knees in. She's like, it's really bad for your knees. And I'm like, I can't move. Like, I have the biggest belly right now.
That's amazing.
But after I've gone through labor and I've gone through the birth process, and now I understand what muscles are being used.
Yeah.
I feel Pilates differently too.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So cool.
It's crazy.
Well, yeah, Pilates is the best.
So what made you make the switch
from...
No, you're good. We're gonna...
Do you love these tangents that I go on?
No, I love
it.
Hey, it's fine.
Okay, what made me make the switch?
The switch from you were a Pilates girly to now you're teaching the Pilates girlies.
So, big shout out to my bestie, Brinley Harris. So when I had been going to Pilates, hot Pilates for like a year, and I've been doing reformers for like 6 months.
So for people who don't know,
yes,
regular Pilates is just on a mat, and then the reformers is the machine.
Yep.
Okay.
And I would say the machine is slower and challenging in different ways. Both are extremely hard, but in different ways. I say try both and pick one that you love. I mean, they're both gonna do the same things, or do both. I love doing both. Long story short, I had been going for a year and then doing reformers for a year. And my friend, Brinley, who wasn't my friend at the time, but she was an instructor at where I went. I just like fell in love with her vibe. I fell in love with her, and she had the funnest classes. And most instructors that I had been to before were like older. I had never been to an instructor that was my age and like had the funnest music, had the funnest playlist. And she was so uplifting and fun. And every time I left her class, I was like rejuvenated. And I had never saw myself teaching. But I like, after I saw her, I was like, I think I could do this. And I was like, she makes this look like I just never saw myself, because I didn't see someone my age, kind of my vibe, doing this. But anyway, so she really inspired me. And then I started looking into it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I made a goal 2023 the same year that I didn't do social media. I was like, I'm going to get my, 2024. So the year after social media, when I was going to start posting and I was going to get my certification. Sorry, I got the timeline mixed up. I was like, I'm going to get my certification this year and I'm going to quit my corporate job and I'm going to go all in for fitness because my husband was graduating college. Fun fact, I put my husband through college with a big girl job. And I know.
Proud of you.
Thank you so
Good
much.
job.
I know. So I'm a trad wife, you know what I'm saying? And it was awesome. But it was kind of like, he was like, all right, it's your time to go and do your thing, whatever that is. And for a long time, I thought that was going to be have a bunch of babies. You know what I mean? Like when he was done with college. But I just had this, like, I don't know, this all of a sudden this dream sparked to just be an instructor. I'm like, maybe I'll just do this for a little bit and then start having kids, whatever. And I'm like, maybe it won't even turn out. But I started getting my certification in January 2024 because I was inspired by Brindley. And I completely fell in love with the idea of teaching. And I fell in love with learning all about the body. I fell in love with like learning Pilates. And then I also was like, wait, I think I'm going to be really good at this. Like all of a sudden I was like, wait. And then I was reading all these books about like how to make your dreams come true and like how to set goals and really like stick to them and make things happen. And I really started visualizing around this time. And I was visualizing myself quitting my corporate job. I was visualizing myself teaching Pilates. And not only was I visualizing me teaching, I was imagining me teaching the best class at the studio. I was like, I was visualizing down to the very last detail of how it's going to feel when people walk in my class. Like I want the wait list to be packed for my class. Like
which it is.
It's crazy because I literally made that up in my mind a year ago exactly in January 2024. And I spent so many, like I would write down what it's going to feel like, what it's going to look like and all these things. And then I got my certification done and trained at the studio that I wanted to work out for a long time. And then I finally got passed off and I started subbing in the summertime because it's extremely competitive to get a class on the schedule at this specific studio. And so I was like, I probably won't even get a class for a year. I'll probably be a sub for a year, which was, grueling and just kind of soul breaking. But I started visualizing like getting so many good reviews that like they just got to put me on the schedule, and like slowly like all these things. And like I was visualizing my Instagram growing. I was visualizing like all these things. And just like all of a sudden this boom, 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 these things started happening. And I'd quit my corporate job. And after my husband graduated, went all in fitness. Like it was just crazy to watch it unfold. And then anyway, I got classes on the schedule and now, I teach just constantly all throughout the week and it's just like the best. So that's kind of my Pilates story, I guess.
I love it.
I'm such a chatterbox. I'm so sorry.
No, I'm so glad you are. Can you imagine if you weren't?
If you were like having to pull teeth?
Yeah.
No, you're like trying to put my teeth back in. You're like, okay.
So what does it look like for you to prep for a class?
Okay, so I think this is what makes my classes different than a lot of classes. I always set an intention for the class, and that can be anything. So that can be a specific body part. It can be, like I'm just going to do a booty class. I'm going to do a shoulder class. Or it can be a few things. So like a shoulder and core, or it can be like, quads and biceps class. So it can be like a body part or like a specific part of your body. Or I do like a theme of the class. Like sometimes I'm just like, I want this class to be like all about like getting out of your comfort zone, or I want this class to just feel extremely fun. So like when they leave, they were just like, that was so much fun. So I always just set an intention and it's always different. And then I go through, I pick my music first. I'm like a big music, like just as much as
You
I'm
have
researching.
a good playlist.
Thank you so much.
Because I take bomb playlist.
I take pride in that because I probably, as much time as I spend like practicing my classes and like learning new and like getting it all set up, I spend as much time like finding new music for classes.
Well, music can really make or break the class.
Oh yeah.
Completely. Like,
Oh yeah.
I think the other hard thing is everybody has such a different genre
They do.
of what they like to listen to when they work out.
Yeah.
Like some people are into screamo, some people are listening to their country, some people
Yeah.
are like, I listen to a podcast, or
Yeah.
But you have a really good like variety.
Thank you. Well,
Yeah.
and when I very first started teaching, I thought, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to put something in there for everybody. And then I slowly changed to like, no, I'm just going to put the songs that I'm loving right now. Like, it's just my brand. This is my class.
Yeah.
Welcome to my playlist. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're getting in my head for 45 minutes and like, welcome to my world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I started doing that, it was like a much better experience. I think people enjoy it way more because they know like the vibe. When you walk in my class, like, you know the vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and music does play a big part in that. But anyway, and then after I get the playlist all set up, then I move through it and just I get on my mat and I just spend a lot of time on my mat creating the class and like going through all the sets and the flows and messing around and experimenting, and it's just a blast. And then I usually try to start working on it a week in advance so that I can.
Oh, wow.
I know. So I maybe like 5 days in advance, I guess, because like the weekdays. Anyway. So then I'm running through it all week. It's because I think another big fault that a lot of teachers have is like they don't do the full class themselves. So they actually don't know, was this hard? Was this easy?
Yeah.
I get on my mat and do the entire class a few times by myself all the way through to, because then I know the parts where I can back off a little bit and I know the parts where I need to push. Anyway, I think that makes or breaks too.
Yeah, I think that's very important because as like a person who goes,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Can you tell the difference?
yes.
You think?
Yeah, especially because there's some that they have the same routine every single time. And I'm like, I have done this song
Absolutely.
and this same workout
That drives me nuts.
a bajillion times.
Yeah.
Like maybe not a bajillion, and maybe it's just they're like, they go to teach to just unwind and they just already know what to do. So it's
Right.
just like, it's their time to just, get it out. And
Yeah.
But I feel like you put a lot into it. But I think it's nice that you do run through it because sometimes you're like, okay, we just did arms and now you're doing another arm song.
Yeah.
Or like, okay, you just did arms, but now we're going into push-ups. So my arms are already exhausted. So like, I think it's important because then we're dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
I want to die, but I also don't want to die.
And you want to know that you're dying for and it's working. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes I feel like I go to classes where it's just like, it feels like there's no rhyme or reason and we're not attacking anywhere necessarily. And I leave being like,
what did
I just work?
Was it
yeah.
like a full body, but I didn't really engage?
Like I didn't get a burnout anywhere necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
I think
important
that
to get on your
is
mat.
true, your intention that you set, because there's days where like I'll go and maybe I just don't even realize it, but my body realizes like what you're
Yeah.
doing. So like the other days I go and I'm like, man, I'm sore in my legs.
Yeah.
And then the next day or the next class I'll be like, okay, my arms are really sore.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't necessarily like announce it. I'm not like, I don't go up and be like, everyone, we're doing biceps and quads today. You know what I mean? But like most people never even notice that we're only doing shoulders and quads. I'm just using that as an example, but because it's just fun. And like when you're in the zone, like, and then you'll notice it later. Like you said, you're like, oh wow, like I got my quads got kicked today.
Yeah. So then if you like the next day, you could go do like something else.
Yeah. Yeah. The opposing muscles. And then
yeah, because I didn't realize how big that was, and I feel like I've done every
Yes.
app that there is that people can like do. If you don't want to hold him too, you don't have to. I can put him upstairs.
He's so
like,
sweet though. He was napping, but my leg was falling asleep, so I have to trade legs.
He
him.
will just snuggle.
He can
forever.
go right back to bed.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I didn't realize it until I feel like I've gone through every app, but having days that you focus on the core muscle groups is like very
Yes.
important.
Absolutely. Like this week, so tomorrow morning I'm teaching 8 a.m. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I was like, oh, this is kind of fun because it's kind of the same group of people that go to the 8 a.m. For the most part.
Yeah, it's
And
annoying.
They're also
always
like crazy.
blocked.
Yeah, they're like insane.
I tell Austin this joke all the time. I'm like,
I love
the
them.
classes are booked. I was like, can everybody stop like being so motivated and healthy?
No, like,
I'm like,
my
it's great. I'm
classes-
excited for them, but I'm also like, there's no spot in the class.
my class will get booked and the waitlist will get full before my class the week before it even starts. Does that make sense?
No, everybody
Because
waits.
they're ready to roll. Like
They don't
on
open the
ball.
schedule until like a week, exactly a week, and everybody gets on at
They
the
do.
exact time,
Like it is insane. So
Insane.
they're motivated out of their minds.
which is
But-
great. I'm glad to be surrounded by people
I know.
who are.
It feels honestly it's
But
a good
also-
community in there. Huh?
Yes, but sometimes I'm like, can you stop being motivated so I can go? Like,
Literally.
I'm just
Literally.
kidding.
But yeah, so I'm teaching Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 8 a.m. So I decided we're doing legs, upper body, and then we're doing Pilates, full body, no equipment. So
Okay.
it's gonna be like boom, 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 and we're gonna hit every single thing by the end of Saturday, and it'll just be like really fun. I've been kind of planning it all week, and anyway, so it's just kind of fun to like. Because I
Yeah.
feel like, again, some teachers will just come in and do their same class they've always done for forever and same music and same everything. And
Which is
and-
fine because I feel
which
like
is fine,
sometimes
'cause-
you can know what you're going into, and if you've had a rough day and you're like,
Absolutely.
I know what I can scale, I know what I can do.
Which is totally like why it's so great to have so many instructors, because then everyone gets something that they like. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like I'm probably not someone's cup of tea. In fact, like
You're everybody's cup of
I
tea.
got a review last week that made me laugh. They said this class is way too hard. It's just like I hate being in here. It's just way too hard. And I was like, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want to make your hardest class of the week, but like obviously everyone modifies.
Yeah, you
including
can
me.
also scale, right? Like
Yes,
if you're
scale.
if you're dying, like don't do the 8 pounds.
Yeah, but
Don't
that was
do
a
the
good
5
reminder for
pounds.
me to remind people that. But I was laughing. I was like, you know what? I'm just not everyone's cup of tea, and that's all right. Oh yeah, she said that's what she said at the end. She's like, and I felt like the instructor was mad at me the whole time. I was like, oh, you poor girl.
See,
I was
no,
probably
I
just
like
saying
it.
like you can do it.
No,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
No, I
I
like
know I
it.
have a gruff voice when I teach. That's
You
what
know,
I've been
sometimes
told.
my favorite thing you say is you're like, you're fine. Or what do you say? What is the thing you say?
No, yes, you can.
Yes, you can. You're fine. Get over yourself.
Yes, you
Like,
can.
Yes, you can. That's what it is. It's so funny. I like that the better though.
Me too.
I'm very like I need someone to be like, get your ass up and go. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Me
like,
too.
Go. There's a couple of instructors that are a little sweeter, which
Yeah.
is fine.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's different instructors, but to me personally, I'm like, someone needs to yell at me. Who's yelling
Yeah,
at me?
me too.
Anybody gonna yell?
Yeah. And I'll like pick people out and I'll like point and be like, nope, harder,
Yeah.
harder. You know what I mean?
And
like,
I will say I
think
love
that's
to
fun.
some people don't like it, which I totally understand. I love when the instructors like point out what's wrong. Like if
Me
they
too.
come over and you're like, you're arching your back or like your
Me
knee is
too.
not bent. And I'm like, to me that's so helpful because I only get like an hour a day to myself, right? So like
Absolutely.
I don't have time to look at what I'm doing. I'm like, I just go in, it's my time to clear my mind
Yes,
and just
yes.
like be alone. And I like when coaches come over and are like, this is what's wrong. You're like, oh, thanks. I wasn't noticing that because I was
yeah. See, I love
modifying
that too.
this
And
or
some
whatever.
people don't. And so it's hard to walk that line, especially when it's a class of 70 people.
and you don't know who's going to be in there.
Yeah,
and you don't know if it's their first time or how long they've been there.
Right.
or-
Because
yeah.
it's like a sea of people. And I've had, 95% of the time people love it. Cause I love it. I want the instructor to be like paying attention to me and like grabbing me and like fixing my
Yeah.
form and like, you know what I mean? I'm like hands on, but I know some people wouldn't like hands on, but it's like hard to guess. And so I try to be really mindful, but then also like I pointed out someone, I'm like, oops, change that position to someone the other, this was like a month ago. And they complained after class and said the instructor got mad at me and told me to change my form. And I'm like, okay, so this is like a hard line to walk of like,
Yeah.
because I want that. And I agree with you. Like, this is your 1 hour to like, for it to be all about you.
Wouldn't
I
you
would
want to, like, to me, like, wouldn't you want to know? Like, I would want somebody to tell me, like, if I'm in a position that would, like, hurt me.
Oh,
like, if I
absolutely.
keep doing, like, if I
Arching
keep
your
doing,
back
like,
was a good
lunges.
example.
Yeah. If I keep doing lunges and every time I do deadlifts or lunges
You're
or whatever, and
rounding.
I'm rounding my back.
Yeah.
And I don't notice it because you're not focusing on that, you know? And if I just had somebody, like, come tap your back and you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or even when you say breathe,
Yeah.
right? Like,
So many people, I watch people hold their breaths like literally in class. Because sometimes we have the urge, for some reason, our bodies do this. When we're working really hard, we sometimes have the urge to hold our breath. Especially when I start counting, I'm like 8, 7, 6, and people will hold their breath during that time. It's like very funny. Our bodies are like, I don't know why we all, but I notice myself doing it too. So it's just like that I always try to remind. But yeah, it's like a fine line to walk of like how hands-on do you want to be? And so I love when people like, if you go to my classes and you want to be hands-on, like please let me know, because the people that have let me know that, I mean, I know I can go over there and literally get down on the floor with them and like press on them and like, you know, and
you can be an instructor, like you can do what you're there to do.
And it's a vibe when I can be like that, because I feel like that's like what I want to be.
You
doing.
own the room when you do it.
You are so
I love
kind.
it. No,
Thank you.
I do. I feel like when you, and maybe that, you know, we'll just let the sensitive Sallies just sit in the corner. Like if you can't handle it, I don't know.
I know. I'm like, well, you know what? That's why there's other instructors. Like,
yeah, right.
I don't want to change.
I wouldn't. I literally wouldn't. And I feel like when you are so in your element, and I love going to your classes because you're in your element and you do
Thank
love
you
it.
so much.
And like when you go in there and you own the room, I like another thing I think is funny, but I'm like, you walk on people's yoga mats and you're just,
How do you feel about that?
Nah, I don't care. Everybody's in there is sweaty. I mean, if you saw the people who was in that spot before you, like it's sweaty and gross.
Right. It's a wild
gym.
room.
The weights, disgusting.
Do you think people would get bugged by me walking on their mats? I've always wondered that, but I've never gotten a complaint.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care.
I love it.
You're going to, if you really cared that much, then stay at home and work out.
Yeah.
To me. Like, I've seen the piles of sweat that have like built up in that room.
It's
like,
wild.
Or like how much sweat, it's really gross to me. I can't even talk about it. How much sweat it gets on like the weights. And they clean them. They do what they can. But do they?
We hope they do.
Yeah. I mean, everybody does their fair share of cleaning.
Yeah.
But I don't know. If you're gonna get so offended like about that, then you're not.
I've never had a
maybe your
complaint
lunge
yet.
is not deep enough and you don't have heavy enough weights. I don't know.
I love that. Yeah, I'm gonna keep doing that, because I agree. It's just like, welcome to my class.
It's your class. You own the room. It's your brand. Run it how you
You're so
want.
nice.
If
I'm
people
like-
don't like it, they can go find some other tea.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
There you go. Okay, so let's focus. Let's switch into the food a little bit, because you're huge on that, and I
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Food.
So
how about this? When did your relationship with food switch?
yeah.
Or has it switched?
Yeah, well, it has. And I think that what a lot of people don't, and I was actually just talking to Brinley about this the other day. I think that a lot of people, you know, they look at me and they think like, oh, she has no issues now with health or body image or whatever. Like I've gotten DMs like kind of saying that. Like, how do I, you know, have this mentality of like, you know, and these things. And I'm like, this will, especially as women today, and I hope that maybe one day I'll master this, and I'm trying to master this, but like I think food will always be something in my mind. And I'm willing to do the work to feel good mentally, but I don't think it will ever go away. And sometimes it's like louder than other days, you know, but I think that it's a challenge. And I was just talking to Brinley about this. Like last week, I ordered a swimsuit. I'm going on a trip next month, and I was like getting some swimsuits. And I ordered a size large top and extra large bottoms. And I was like, why did I do this? Like, I'm like, that was a very weird, like, but it's because that was the size I was at my biggest. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like I still in my, like subconsciously somehow I think like, and the pants couldn't even stay up. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I'm like, this is so silly. And I laughed about it, but then I was like, really thought about it. And I was like, okay, I think that's how I subconsciously still see myself and still feel about food. And I think food is a really big aspect. And I changed, what changed my mind about food was this saying, eat like you love yourself. And I was like, okay, if I really love myself, I am going to fuel my body with the best foods. You know what I mean? Like if I love my body and I love myself, I'm like, I want that person to be getting the best of the best. You know what I mean? Like, and to feel the best, to look the best, to have the best mental health. And then I would also want them to have a treat on their birthday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like a treat at family Sunday dinner and like, you know, a grab a swig on when they're on their period. Do you know what I'm saying? So like that was a big change for me when I heard that saying of eat like you love yourself, because when you love yourself, you're going to eat 80/20. Like truly. You're going to eat real food that makes you feel good, and then you're also going to know when to enjoy your anniversary dinner and go get pasta with your husband. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I think it's finding that balance. And again, some days the negative voices are louder in my head than others, of like feeling guilt, feeling anxious about food, because I did have a food addiction. You know what I mean? Like, and so I think that will always be a little bit in my head, but I feel like I'm getting closer and closer to mastering it. But food is hard, but you know what's the best feeling in the world? Eating good food.
Yeah.
And you'll get addicted to that. Like I am. When I eat something junky now, I feel sick. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go back to my beef and eggs for breakfast in the morning. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's so interesting. Food is wild.
Yeah. I had I feel like I'm very similar with your story of food, but I think it used to be where I would like plan my days around when I was going to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, well, if we go on the boat, I need to stop and get snacks. And if we go hunting, then I need to have this. And if I go to an event, then I need to make sure I go to the store. And like which is important, but the way that I was doing it was wrong. And I think it got worse when I was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
I was so sick pregnant the first 4 or 5 months,
Which
nauseous,
makes
sick,
nutrition so hard.
so hard.
So hard.
And I think I gained a lot of weight because I was pregnant, which is fine. But I think I did gain weight because of the choices that I was making.
Yeah.
I was still very active, not as hard active as I was.
Mm-hmm.
I would go to cycling and I would go to yoga and I would do reformer Pilates.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed away from hot. But I drank Cokes because it was the only thing that I could like keep the nauseous down.
Right.
But I think I gained a lot of weight because of the baby, but I think I gained a lot of weight because of the choices that I was making.
Yeah.
But I gained 100 pounds.
Ugh.
Isn't that crazy?
That's a lot of mental gymnastics.
It's a lot, and after was a lot.
Yeah.
Like the last 10 months has been really crazy, and the struggle and the going in 9 months, going up 100 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that's a short period of time.
And then in 10 months to go down 75.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, you look phenomenal.
Thank you. Only because of your classes, really.
I wish.
Yeah.
I wish.
But for your body to just like do this huge spike and mountain, and then the mental thing where I was like, I don't fit in any clothes. I have to go buy clothes. And then having the baby and having to go buy more clothes. And I felt like I was always buying clothes because like nothing fit. And then I wasn't eating healthy. So I already had like the gut problems, which was a lot. That is a lot. And then over the summer, you're taking all the scans. You're like, okay, well, I want to know what to fix, And it's like, well, you're just breastfeeding too. You need to let it like
run its course,
feed your baby and take that. And I had to stay off social for a second because I would just see all the the moms are like, I bounced back after 3 weeks and I'm going to say this because it's the worst thing that I think I ever did. And I thought like mentally I was ready, but physically I was not. I was so excited to go back to hot Pilates.
Oh my gosh.
After I had a baby. I went at 3 weeks postpartum.
Oh no. Yeah, that's crazy.
I went to the first class and I was halfway through and I was like, I should walk out.
Yeah.
And I was like, but you're strong. You can do this. You just had a baby. You're fine.
Yeah.
Not knowing anything about postpartum, not knowing anything about like what is really going on.
Really short.
Really short.
Mm-hmm.
And I went home and I was like, aren't you guys so proud of me? I went to hot Pilates and I was like, you should be proud of yourself. And then like I was like, that was actually really stupid.
Yeah.
And then I was like, because after having a baby, I kind of, you get this like weird identity thing, or like, oh, you want to take care of this baby and he's so cute, but then it's like, oh, but my body's destroyed now. What do I do? And you get through this really weird thing. And so then I was like, okay, well, I can go hot Pilates in 3 weeks. Don't do that. That's really bad. And then I think at like 8 weeks, I tried CrossFit again.
Oh my gosh,
And
girl, you were
I think my mind was just so ready to like
lose the weight,
take the next step.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't realize like what my body actually just went through. And there would be so many times
sorry.
where, no, are you kidding? I did it to myself.
No,
but it
all
wasn't
these
until
pressures did that to you.
Yeah, it was,
Like,
it was all
seriously.
the pressures. And I looking back, I'm like, I should have turned the phone freaking off, and I should have just snuggled with the baby and really rested, gone for more walks, which after I went to CrossFit, and I was like, oh yeah, I can do toes to bar. I can do all this stuff. Like I could do it before the baby. And Heather, she was, I love the CrossFit that I went to. I just, between doing 200 events a year and doing CrossFit, my body was just like done.
Yeah.
And then I've had a baby, so I needed to wait. But when I went back, she's like, hey, like just a heads up. She's like, we modified that whole workout. And after she sat and explained to me exactly what was going on with my body, because she had like 3 or 4 babies, and she is like the best shape. I'll show you her after.
Beautiful.
She's amazing. But she was like, they always say that you can start working out at 8 weeks.
Yeah.
She's like, that's actually wrong. She's like, your core, she's like, you're not technically supposed to start working on your like working out or core until like 12 weeks, 3 months or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, why is that? She's like, you have to think, you're like, your abs have been separated for a really long time.
Right.
And she's like, they're not going to form back together for like 3 or 4 months.
That's
and
so crazy.
And then like, until she explained to me that, or like when I was doing certain workouts or rows or whatever, like why, I was like, oh, okay. And so then I took a little bit longer of like, and then I went back into Pilates and really started, when I would go into Pilates, I would just like, every time I'd be like, focus on the core.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand what those core muscles were until I had a baby.
No, totally.
Because no one
That's what I've
explains
heard.
what that means. And I'm going to have an episode on it one time, like a whole postpartum thing.
You totally should.
Because the amount of girls' nights.
I can't wait to listen to it.
The amount of girls' nights that I've had that they have like, they're telling me things and I'm like, what is that? What is that? What happened there? What is that? And then there's like 4 or 5 girls that I know that are actually going to like pelvic floor therapy, and how common that is becoming now is crazy.
That's amazing.
So
yeah, I'll be the first listener, because I like, honestly, I'm so excited to be a mom someday, but like it's that part of that world is intimidating to me, the postpartum world. You know what I mean? It just, I think that we glaze over postpartum. I don't know why we do, but like we glorify pregnancy, which is magical and wonderful and beautiful and so cool. But then like postpartum to me looks more challenging than being pregnant. You know what I mean? Like in my mind, like I'm looking at these moms that have just had a baby, that have been pregnant for 9 months, and then now they have a baby to take care of, and the most traumatic thing ever just happened to them. And they're the heaviest they've ever been, most people. Do you know what I mean? Like it seems extremely overwhelming. And so like that's wild to me. So I'm just so impressed by women in general.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just wild. We're
so
cool.
I will say one thing that I think got to me. And society, or like a lot of people are posting with a lot of bad things about postpartum.
Yes.
And you have such a negative aspect of postpartum. You're like, okay, well, I've heard it's horrible, so it's going to be horrible.
And kids in general.
Yes. Kids in general, right?
Yes.
Or like
and pregnancy. I mean, the whole thing.
The whole thing, right? And I wish I know now, because it's been 10 months and I like look back on the pictures, or like when you're in it, it's a totally different feeling. But there's also so many magical things that happen when you go through postpartum. I had some scary moments. I did.
Yeah.
But I also was so scared because I had heard so many horror stories that before, like when I was pregnant, I was like, if this, I made the decision on how I was going to react if I did feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, if
you visualized.
yes, visualized,
yeah.
right? So like, I was like, okay, if I feel depressed, I'm going to go outside. Or if I feel sad, then, you know, what can we do? Can I just go walk around Target?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like maybe it was like 5 or 6 weeks postpartum. Like I had a thing where it's like, get out of the house every single day. Like don't stay inside. But there's like so many good things about postpartum too. So
cool. Well, yeah, I love seeing every once in a while I'll get a random post that's like, everything's so negative about having a baby. But here's my experience. It was amazing. You know, there were some challenging parts, of course, but it's been the best thing in my life. You know, so I always love coming across those because as someone who like is on social media, I feel like you're right. All I see is negative stuff that's just terrifying me to death. You know what I mean?
And
it's
I was getting that all the way through pregnancy too, right?
Ugh.
And I just messaged a friend the other day because she's 3 or 4 months pregnant, and she posted something on her story. She's very healthy, very active, and it was like a repost of like, mamas, it's okay. It can be scary, whatever. And basically it's okay to let the good things be good.
And
I
like that.
there's so many, like, it's scary because you don't know. I wish if I like looked back, because the whole time you're like, do I still feel a heartbeat? What am I going to be able to know how to change a diaper? When am I going to know how to feed him? And when am I going to do this? And you research all these things on social, and then you see all the horrible things. But there is like something that changes when you have that baby that you just know what to do. And
I love that.
I feel like I lived a lot of my pregnancy through fear. Like we didn't tell a lot of people that we were pregnant until the 3-month mark or the 20 weeks. I think, I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah.
Because I was so scared that I was going to like lose the baby. And because that's all I heard. Like all I heard was it was until the first semester is over, then it can be bad.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes whether it's going to go a certain way or not, it's okay to like live in the moment and let it be good for a minute.
Yeah.
So, cause there's so much like magic
that
happens. So,
well, right. And like, you know, I look at moms that just have a brand new newborn baby, or they're having a baby that's smiling for the first time. And I'm just like, oh, I hope they're like just enjoying that and loving that so much because it's so special. I don't know, especially someone on the outside who's like, you know, and I've like had a miscarriage, and you know what I mean? So whenever I see the negative stuff, I'm like, oh my word. Like, I wish they could just love it and enjoy it. Anyway, life is just crazy, and pregnancy and babies and everything is just such, again, like as low as it can be is as high as it can be, you know? And that's just how life goes with everything. But yeah.
Yeah, motherhood is crazy. I just tell people, I'm like, just make sure you're ready. Cause it's a lot of work and it's a lot to juggle. And it's, gosh, it's the most stressful thing is
you guys
flying with a baby.
You guys are unreal, like superheroes to me.
No, you can do it. It's how you react.
I was just telling my friend tonight at dinner, I was like, I feel like I've gone too far into creating such a fun lifestyle. That now I'm like, it's gonna be really hard to have a baby. Like, don't. 2 years ago, it would have been, I think, easier.
No, and don't now say
I'm like,
that.
Oh no,
don't.
Oh no, I've created a really fun lifestyle.
And don't change it. Don't change it.
That's what she said.
Do not adapt. Do not adapt to the child. The child will adapt to you.
Yes.
He will learn how to adapt. He will learn how to go. I don't have like a set nap schedule for him.
Oh, cool.
And like I'll have a babysitter or somebody be like, well, when is his nap? And I'm like, I don't set him a schedule.
Yeah.
I let him eat when he wants to eat. I let him sleep when he needs to sleep. Because we have a very active life and we're always kind of going or we're doing something. And I don't want him to be so stuck in he has to sleep in his bed or he has to sleep at this time. Like, I want him to be able to adapt. But don't change your lifestyle. Look, me and Austin made a goal. So we made it for like it was like our New Year's resolution, but we didn't do like a New Year's resolution. We did like when he was born. So it wasn't
cool.
like he was born in end of February. So it wasn't like for the new year, but it was like it's starting when he's born, it starts our family. And that's going to be like our new family resolution, whatever. I don't know if that's making sense, but
yes, it is. I love that.
It was to take as many adventures as we could through his first year.
Cool.
Because I think that's really what sets like
the tone
for how your family's going to be the rest of the time.
Right.
He's going to take a nap on the beach or he can take a nap in his room. Like either way, the baby's got to take a nap. So you might as well just bring him to Mexico with you, which I wish.
May as well have it be on the beach.
Yeah. Right. And I wish he was
cute.
the best to fly with until about 6 months. And then 6 months, he's been a little bit more difficult. Yeah. He's still great. He's some flights are a little harder. I will say it depends on the flight attendant that you get.
Oh no.
Some of them are rude and some of them are so helpful. But they got to sleep anywhere. So might as well just pack them in a backpack and go on a walk through New York.
No, literally. You're so right. You're so right.
It's the same.
You're so right. I love that.
And then you look through the scrapbook and it's like, oh yeah, our first year, like
we did so many fun things.
This baby's gone camping. He's gone hunting. He's already done like all of the things. But it's not like it's going to stop because that's like just the start.
Right.
So
that's very cool.
Yeah. And his name is Legend. So, I mean.
So he has to be out and about.
Exactly. I can't name him Legend and then make him lame.
Name him Legend and then give him a sleep schedule. Okay.
Yeah. That's not how it works.
I love that. That's so cute.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, you have to get up early, but I do want to talk about you're dropping something soon.
Yes. Okay. So I'm dropping a hoodie. I don't know what got into me. I'm just like really excited about it. So the hoodie's called Health is Wealth.
You should be. So what is it called?
Health is Wealth.
Okay.
So I just like love, I'm always in hoodies. If I'm not at class, I'm always in a hoodie. And it was something that I've just like a saying that I've had written on my phone for a really long time and that I've tried to live by. And I want to do more hoodies with more of my sayings, like eat like you love yourself and all those good things. So I imagine this going on for longer and like dropping a hoodie with one of our sayings, like eat real food, eat like you love yourself, move your body every day. But I loved Health is Wealth to kick it off for us. And they're so beautiful. They're like, we tried so many different styles of hoodies and I came to this one that's like, to me, looks like a Lululemon Scuba. Like it's the most beautiful hoodie that we could find. And anyway, beautiful. And it's just this great arch anyway. And that will drop in February. Yay! I know. So I'm exciting. So excited about it. It's going to be very, it's just going to be very fun and just for the girls, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a fun project.
It is. It's such and I love clothes that have a reminder and a meaning to them instead of just someone's logo. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just magical. So it'll be great.
I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
That's such a fun project.
I know.
Like, why not?
I know.
Like Riley last week, or I guess her podcast dropped today, but she wrote a book and she's like, I'm just going to write a children's book. Like, why the heck not? She's like, if not me, then
cool.
Yeah. She's like, if not me, then who? And it's like, okay, so you start a hoodie. Well, what else could you do? You know, like it's just the start of something. And so I'm excited to see your journey just like unfold and you just keep growing because you have so many things going for you. And you are just like a little positive light in the world, which I think people just need a lot more of.
Thank you so much. Well, I am seriously so impressed by all of this. You are amazing.
Everything held together by duct tape.
This is legit amazing. And you're a businesswoman doing this and having to be like, you are a superwoman. So I'm, again, so honored. Thank you so much.
Oh, I appreciate it. Where
are you coming to class this week?
If I can get off the wait list.
You're on the wait list, Kate.
Yeah, can you pull any strings?
We'll figure it out.
Okay, I love it. Where can they find you?
Instagram, Annika.Orozco, and TikTok, Annika.Orozco. And then YouTube, we're going to start.
She's going to drop it next week.
Dropping it next week.
Yeah.
There are some shorts on there, but we're going to start doing some longer.
I'm just going to push the deadline so that you get it done faster.
Yes, please.
Like how today, my husband's like, why are you doing this so fast?
Thank you so much.
Push the deadline.
You have to push the deadline or else it will never happen.
Exactly.
But anyway, I'm going to do on YouTube, I've been requested to do full at-home Pilates classes. So I'm going to drop like at-home 30 minutes, mat Pilates.
Yes.
You can just work out too. So hopefully that will be amazing. And
do some hotel
it's
room
coming
ones.
soon.
Please.
I know, right? Like no equipment.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to need those, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to do amazing.
Thank
I love
you.
it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.